So the answer to this is yes, and boy do I have a story for you. So what people don't know is that we still very strictly adhere to a lot of our traditions, especially the warrior ones. Now every tribe is different, but there are usually certain criteria that somebody has to meet in order to be considered a legitimate war chief. And for the Crow, there were 4 things that have to be met. Number 1, touching an enemy without killing him. Also referred to as counting coup, this is a way of embarrassing an enemy, saying that you were able to kill him, you could have killed him, but you didn't. You sentenced him to live with his embarrassment for the rest of his life, rather than give him the honor of dying on the battlefield. Second, taking an enemy's weapon from them. Same concept, it's you're taking their weapon and making them harmless. Again, an embarrassment. Next would be leading a successful war party without dying. Self-explanatory. And the last one is stealing an enemy's horse. Again, all these are centered around embarrassing and humiliating your enemy. Now, with all that said, let me introduce you to Joe Medicine Crow. Joe served in the infantry back in World War II. Now, prior to leaving for the European theater, Joe saw a medicine man in his tribe that gave him a feather that was told would protect him in battle. But Joe took it to a whole new level, my friends. While in Europe, Joe was ordered to take a team of 7 to retrieve some dynamite in Siegfried, which would allow the US to enter into Germany. In a hail of gunfire, he took this team of 7 people over, they stole the dynamite and came back. Something that people would later say should have destroyed him. Machine gun fires, grenades, you name it. Not one soldier was killed. He led a successful war party. Now, as a scout for the U.S. Army, Joe Medicine Crow would typically go ahead of the unit when they were doing invasions. He was told he needed to flank some German soldiers. Joe decided to take a shortcut by himself. And while running through the forest, he ran into a German soldier. The soldier, so bewildered by what was going on, kind of stopped and stared at him as Joe was running full speed at him. Joe just blew through the guy. He saw him, he hit him, and just kept on going, sending the German soldier flying and dropping his weapon. Joe decided to bend down and grab his weapon, successfully taking an enemy's weapon. Now, instead of killing the soldier, Joe decided to engage in hand-to-hand combat with this guy. He dropped his weapon and started to physically fight him. After getting the better of him and pulling his knife out and pressing it against his neck, the soldier started to beg for his life, and Joe let him go, defeating an enemy without killing him. Later on, Joe was out scouting around a farmhouse out in Germany. He walked up on a group of SS soldiers who were all staying inside of a farmhouse, and they all just so happened to be on horseback. Joe, armed with nothing but a pistol, snuck in there through enemy lines and mounted a horse. He then let out a war cry and then let all the horses free, and he was never caught. And upon returning home, he was given the distinction as the last true war chief.